What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Triple Option Podcast. We're back after another long hiatus, but joining me, as always, the ace with grace, the gent with intent, the guy with the style and the guile, Akshay Raj.
What's up, everyone? Thank you, and welcome back again to this podcast. I'm sponsored by this navy blue, representing my team, my Seahawks. We officially clinched a playoff berth this week, so excited to see what's next.
Also joining me, the king with wings, the wit with grit, the sage of the stage, Arjun Berthi.
Glad to be back and glad to also be supporting a team that has clinched a playoff spot. My Chicago Bears are in the playoffs for the first time since 2018. Bear down.
Congrats,
Wow. Congrats, guys.
congrats!
My team also won this week, but
Wow.
it was a meaningless game, so it is what
Hey,
it is.
A win is a win.
I got to see
you,
more Max Brosmer reps, so
dude,
you know.
I forgot he was even starting still. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
JJ got injured like halfway.
Oh my. Okay.
I
The
think he'll be
concussion,
fine
right?
for
Oh
next
wait, no.
game.
What? Oh, no, it was like a different injury. It was like a
Yeah, it was a hand injury.
hand injury.
He
Yeah.
got like blasted on one play, and then he went out for the rest of the game. I think he'll be fine. I'm not sure what the injury report is. Our season is over anyways. I don't really care. I would prefer JJ play so I can actually like evaluate whether he should start next year or not. But I guess that is talking points for future in like 20 minutes or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started with these games.
All right, yeah, let's get started indeed. I think the first game we're gonna go through is by the way, we are recording this on a Monday. I think it's the 22nd of December. So we're recording this after all the Sunday football slate and before the Monday night game, which is pretty important for both conferences actually. It's the 49ers versus the Colts. So that'll be a very good game, hopefully. But just as a forewarning, we're recording this podcast right before this. So yeah, first game we're gonna go through is Rams Seahawks. Man, this was a insane game. I was I was very upset for the first three quarters, and then um, our special teams and defense came up when it counted, and then our offense was able to translate into a few good drives to not only take us into overtime, but then to cap it off with not only the touchdown, but then the 2 points to win the game. So it was very exciting for me as a Seahawks fan. Not only did we clinch playoffs with that win, but we also took over the one seed for now. So I'm very excited as a Seahawks fan. And Sam Darnold quite proved that he couldn't do it. He can do it at least once in when it matters the most. So. It was very exciting. What are you guys' thoughts?
You want to go first?
Yeah, great game. Great game. I was thoroughly enjoyed watching that game, especially towards the that fourth quarter was electric. After the game was going to a lull a bit, but then Shaheed came and saved the day for the Seahawks. Really energized the team behind that. They got a lot of momentum off of that, and yeah, the rest is history. Obviously, there's that big controversial play. I guess we can go straight off the bat and talk about that 2 point conversion. I thought it was a really interesting rule. I think from what I've seen is like the correct call by the books, but no one on the Seahawks is expecting or asking for anything like that. No one on the Rams was. So I can understand like the frustration from the Rams, especially because like the Jared Verse did his job, right? Like he got in, he blew up the play, like play is dead, like the whistle blown. So like if I'm the Rams, I'm not like you're not like getting mad at them over not picking up the ball because like the play is blown dead. Like I don't know like what more you'd want them to do in that situation. I guess really fortunate for the Seahawks. They needed that stroke of luck. I don't think I've ever seen like a luckier play in my life, but hey, it's no game is won or lost on one play. So, and the Rams definitely had opportunities the rest of the game, ties the game, especially they missed the field goal late in the fourth. So it's not like you can't blame the loss on just that. But I can understand from a Rams perspective, like why like that call was like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that was an insane call, and like the play was blown dead. So I was very confused in the moment. but then obviously it does seem like that was a rule. Also, there were no Seahawks, or sorry, there were no Rams in the area of the ball. So it wouldn't have been like they could have recovered the ball anyway, you know? So it's like a weird, very like edge case scenario that we saw play out, which obviously adds to the potential like salt and, the outcry from NFL fans. But I thought it was really interesting how like Darnold threw two picks, right? They were down going into the fourth quarter, and like that was an insane comeback. And also the Seahawks run game was insane. Kenneth Walker had 11 carries for 100 yards, which is pretty crazy. He's finally coming alive.
Yeah, you could say so. I think we are having to record this on Zoom, so I might as well put the photo up of the play. It's not great, but this was the play as Sam Darnold kind of looked like he threw it backwards. There's your reverse right there. Uh, he tips it. Zach Charbonnet is right there, and what basically happens after that is it bounces into the end zone. The refs basically call it, and then Zach Charbonnet just picks it up. He actually just walks and picks it up. He doesn't like even think that this could be a converted 2-point conversion. But I don't even know if it was intended to be a backwards pass or if it was intended to be a forwards pass, but it worked out in the end. So yeah, that's that was definitely one of the crazier things I've ever witnessed. But it just goes to show that I mean we were down two scores. We made it to the red zone twice earlier in the game, and Sam Darnold threw a pick in the red zone. One of them was very unfortunate, especially to like Kobe Turner, I think in the early fourth quarter, where he just uh initially was on the lineman and then just stepped back and then picked it off Sam Darnold when he was throwing an inward slant to I think JSN. So I mean that was really, really sad. I thought the game was over then, to be honest. But then the Shaheed punt return, as Anurag said, definitely got us
Flip
back
the
to the game.
script.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
like gave us some hope, because b being two scores down with like 7 or 6 or 7 minutes left is pretty hard to overcome. But then being able to get like two really quick drives in of not only like stopping them on defense, but then also getting like two really good offensive drives in to immediately tie up the score was really good. But I did want to highlight this game also featured two of the top two receivers in the league in terms of this year of their receiving performance and two candidates for potentially offensive player of the year. And obviously, one did perform way better than the other in terms of the stats at the end of the day. But what are you guys' thoughts on both of them showing up when it mattered?
Yeah, bro. Two completely special players. And I think Puka is a little better. And I think, he kind of outperformed Jason this game, but you're like picking straws at that point because both of these guys they're two completely different receivers, honestly, and they both win in completely different ways, but both of them are dominating the league in terms of total receiving yards and like every stat you can imagine. But it was like what a pleasure to see these guys go back and forth, you know?
Yeah, two great receivers. Especially when like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, like the consensus top two, are so far having like a little bit of a down season. It's awesome to see these two guys step up and like such a breakout star like JSN, and Puka has also shown like I think he's also taken a leap, even though he was really good the past I think year or two that he's been in the league. He has taken a leap this year, and you know he has had some little bit controversy going up to this game, and then after the end of this game still there's still controversy with him. So
Yeah.
despite all that controversy, he really showed out. He's really strong through the catch. Like he's got to have like some of the strongest hands I've seen. Like that one catch on fourth down where Matthew Stafford like threw the ball like way inside and he like caught it through the defender's arms. I was very, very impressed. Like Puka was spectacular today, and the way he runs routes, the way he attacks the ball at the catch point, like it's beautiful to watch. It's like teaching tape for how to be a receiver. Even though Puka's not the fastest, like he's not the strongest, like he still like finds a way to win those matchups and he picks apart any defense, him and Stafford.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
I
dude.
was thoroughly impressed by Puka, to be honest. I felt like, especially going into Thursday night, their secondary weapon in Devontae Adams, well, obviously had an injury and wasn't able to play the game. So it was all eyes on Puka for the most part in the passing game and just seeing if he could like really carry the offense. And he did in fact carry the offense. And I mean like 200 yards against one of the better defenses in the league, plus two touchdowns is definitely nothing to shy about. And one thing to note particularly, I think both of these receivers now are within like 45 yards of each other. So with 2 games left, and both of their teams having a lot to play for, it'll be very interesting to see who ends up coming out on top for most receiving yards, even though Puka has played one less game than JSN altogether. So I
One and a
mean,
half.
1.5, sure. To be fair, I think it can be debatable because a lot of our games as Seahawks we've taken out JSN in the fourth quarter. But
Same thing for the Rams.
that's for another discussion. But yeah, that's that. I think JSN's at 1637, Puka's at 1592. So they're really close. And then the next guy, George Pickens, is at 1342. So that's like a whole 250 less than in either of the other two. So pretty crazy with that. And I guess that will hopefully these two will continue to be like the next quote unquote um generational wide receiver players, both in the NFC West, which is quite interesting as well.
Right, insane. Dude,
Yeah.
Stafford threw for 457 yards, and that defense sold at the end. That's crazy.
I mean, the defense was holding up all game. It's like,
Actually, yeah, look-key the
yeah,
Yeah, I
offense
think the
sold
defense
too.
forced what, 3 turnovers? Like, I don't know how much
yeah.
more you can ask. Like, that's crazy. Stafford threw
Yeah,
450 yards, the defense gets 3 turnovers, and the Seahawks still win. So
that's insane.
that is insane.
I mean, it just goes to show that it's not only just an offensive game and a defense game, but there's also a special teams component to it
Mm.
too.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you guys saw, but I think two, like on Saturday or something like that, they fired their special teams coach, the Rams. So that was, I guess,
Oh,
yeah. I don't really know if that was like a shock or not per se. Like, kind of expected that to a little happen a little bit because they weren't really good at special teams for like the past couple of weeks. And then obviously, I think their kicker missed a pretty good field goal to like lock up the game for them in the late fourth quarter. And then they also gave up like this punt return touchdown. Um, Plus combination of a lot of things from previous weeks as well. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but very early on in the season, the Eagles blocked their like game-winning attempt for a field goal,
yeah.
and probably multiple other events that I'm just forgetting. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. Like, this is the first time I think McVay has fired one of like the main coaches for like one of their offensive, defensive, or special team units. Like ever since he's become a head coach for the Rams, like during a season. So that's been that's is really interesting. Given their success so far and the fact that they fired a coach this late into the season.
Yeah, I think the Rams have had one of the worst special teams in the league. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that they do. I don't have the exact like numbers or where they rank, but I'm pretty sure it's towards the bottom of the league. As for firing the coach midseason, the fact that this is Sean Vay's first firing shows how good of a coach he is at hiring. But looks like he messed up on this one, on this specific hire, and it cost him the game this time. I'm not sure how long that special teams coordinator has been in the building for the Rams, but it's been a problem throughout the season, and it really just reared its ugly head today. Really, I think that they could have won had they not messed up on that end of the full and then end of the field or in that aspect of the game. So
Yeah, I mean, because to be honest, like if you're looking at this game, you're like, okay, what could we have improved on, like from a Rams point of view, like what could we have improved on? It's like, okay, Stafford threw for 450 yards and he threw 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. The run game, sure, that definitely could have been improved, I think, but obviously Seattle's run defense is like top notch, so you can't really expect too much from that point of view. Receiving game, like if the passing game is really good, the receiving game will obviously be very good. And then their defense got the amount of turnovers that was necessary for a team to be able to win, given their offensive caliber. So probably the only thing you can realistically point out is special teams from this game, I guess, and then moving forward. So yeah, I guess for we can move on to the next games, but just for the importance of this game, it really impacts how the next 2 weeks are going to look like in terms of who ends up getting the 1 seed. So I think it's now between like the Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers still, like any one of those three
And the
could get the
Bears.
1 seed. And then as well as the Bears that Arjun mentioned. I don't think any other team has a chance, right? It's just between those four now.
Yeah.
The Eagles don't have a chance, right? They're too far behind, I
Yeah,
think.
they
Okay.
can't.
Are they 10-5? I think they're 10-5,
Mm.
right? Eagles. Uh,
Yeah, they're 10-5,
okay.
which is why they're too far out of
Yeah, yeah,
reach.
they're too far to reach because it's impossible for Seahawks and 49ers to both have actually no, it's possible. But I don't know actually. It might be possible. I'm not
But the
maybe
Seahawks now hold the full power, right?
yeah, like
Because
if the
yeah,
Seahawks win out, like we play Panthers and 49ers. So if we win out, we get the
yeah.
one seed. But it's a weird scenario where like if the Seahawks lose to the 49ers, but all the other teams, including the Rams and 49ers, win out, then it's like a three-way tie. But then if the 49ers lose to the Bears, then it's a three-way tie between the Bears, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So yeah, it's
That's
it's
crazy.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
These
But
last few weeks are gonna be cinema.
yeah, yeah, for sure. All
Yeah.
right, with that, I'll let Arjun take over the next game.
What a W for the Chicago Bears over Green Bay. It's always F Green Bay, as DJ Moore said in the post-game interview. And I think that was like a clinic of like fourth quarter situational football. If you look at like the overall time of possession and like the overall yardage numbers, Green Bay had 40 minutes to Chicago's like 26. Um, Green Bay had 6 out of 12 third down conversions. Chicago went 2 for 11, which is insane. In terms of total net yards, both of them were around 400. And like if you look at the score, they were down 16-6 late, and they scored 10 points in the final 2 minutes, including an onside recovery, and then they seal the game in overtime after getting a stop. And I think the main issue with Green Bay was even though they were gashing Chicago's defense, they were 0 for 5 in the red zone. And I think that is like the story of their game because they could get down, they would get extremely close, and then either, Chicago forces a random turnover, which happened a couple of times, or they're just not able to seal the deal and they have to settle for a field goal. But yeah, I think even though Jordan Love went down, Malik Willis was playing his like best game of his career, one of the best games of his career. I'm not sure, but he was 9 for 11, 121 yards and a touchdown. I thought he did a great job. It's just that this is the playoff Chicago Bears, man. The Iceman cometh.
Another great win, another comeback win this week for my two podcast co-hosts. So Seahawks came back and now Bears came back. Another nice special teams performance. The onside kick was very well executed. And yeah, it looks like special teams showing its head in these last two games that we're talking about. Yeah, I have to agree with Arjun. I thought Malik Willis played really well, and he was unfortunate that Chicago got an onside kick because what are the percentage chances of getting an onside kick? Even though an onside kick was
Insane.
well executed, Romeo Dobbs he had it in his hands, but just the bounce and everything, and it was a really nice. I'm gonna say it again. It was a very well executed onside kick from the kicker, Santos, I think.
Hmm.
It's the Bears kicker. So shout out Santos. Great onside. Shout out Caleb Williams. I'm pretty high on him, as I guess I've expressed before. I liked him a lot pre-draft. And yeah, he has that like his sack avoidance and his like magic creating magic in the pocket is really like really fun to watch. He escaped a few sacks, a few that I thought were surefire sacks that he escaped and gets outside the pocket. A lot of times he would just chuck it away, but it was fun to see. It's fun to see him play as always. And yeah, that ice in his veins throw in overtime, long to DJ Moore is it was a beauty. Definitely a beauty, and it was joy to watch that throw. And it's always a joy to see the Packers lose, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Always a joy for me. And yeah, it looks like the Bears are rolling. Ben Johnson is cooking up some nice play calling. I liked his decisions that he made overall. Um, the Packers got out to a nice early lead, but they weren't able to hold it, and then I guess you can't stop the Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wanted to give recognition to not only like Caleb and that offense entirely, but I think it was really impressive that Cairo Santos managed to make all go 3 for 3 in his field goals. I think the longest one was like 51, which to be fair isn't like
55, I think.
55.
Let me
Oh.
check. Maybe I'm wrong.
ESPN says 51, but regardless,
Okay, okay, never
51,
mind.
55. I mean, it's equally impressive given the fact that this game was in Chicago and it's in December. So if you weren't watching the game, The thing to note is that it was around 24 miles per hour wind on average, which makes it very, very hard for a kicker to be able to execute field goals of that range, let alone him going 3 for 3 of like, I think it was like 40, 45, and 50 or so. So massive props there. I remember earlier in the day on Saturday, it was college football, and I was watching Miami versus Texas A&M. And I'm not gonna lie, neither kicker knew could make a field goal of like 14 miles per hour wind, and it was like 20 or 30 yards. So like it goes to show like how important special teams are, and these NFL kickers are in games like these where it can those can end up being the game-changing plays where if you can make a field goal from that place, not only do you get your team 3 points, but then you're also able to kick the ball back to the opponent versus them starting from a really nice position on the field. So, massive props to Carlos Santos and the whole special teams effort there.
Yeah, and even for Caleb, the game-winning touchdown to DJ Moore in that wind, like delivering a strike
Hmm
45 yards down the field, that is insane. So, yeah. It's interesting that when they scored the last touchdown in like regular time, they decided not to go for two and they just kicked the field goal to send it to overtime. And I think that was a good decision because you put the backup, Malik Willis, in this position where he has to win the game because they win it and they defer, right? He has to win the game on his first drive, basically. And if he screws up, then Chicago has a chance to just like they have information on what to do. They know exactly what they need and they can like get that done, without without giving Green Bay another chance if possible. I thought that was a pretty good decision on Ben Johnson's part.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Ben Johnson was watching the Seahawks game on Thursday, and he saw, okay, Seahawks deferred, and then even though the Rams got the touchdown at the end you can go for two at the end once you get the touchdown, if you get the touchdown, obviously at the end. So I think he was looking at that and looking at like, okay, I think it might be a good idea where our defense has been playing well. They did lock down Green Bay, like just I think throughout that
hmm
quarter. I think the fourth quarter Green Bay did not have that many points. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
they scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. So the defense was playing really good throughout the fourth quarter. So trust in the defense, send it to overtime. I think it was a correct call as well.
Also, I think in general, maybe deferring is just better because even if the other team scores, like in the case of Seattle versus LA, at least you know that you have four downs to go for everything. And it kind of
hmm
changes your strategy a lot.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
with the new overtime, that is the go-to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we happen to be on Zoom, so I pulled up the last
Oh,
play.
beautiful.
Yeah, so we can watch it again.
Mm. Oof, that's a beauty. That's PI, and he catches it through PI. Oh my God. Oof.
Yeah, it was insane. The where was it? This is in real time, so. Yeah, it was a massive PI. He caught it with his chest. It looked like it could have came out, but then he held it secure. It was insane. Insane finish. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think I watched that maybe 30 times on Saturday night.
Yeah, that was a really impressive play. Not to mention the one that happened the week before, also to DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So I feel like those two are building a really good connection
Yeah, me too.
now. So excited to see what's next for the Bears now that they've also now clinched playoff berth. Not just because of their win, but of another loss that we will discuss moving forward. But it's very exciting to see that the Bears were able to turn around their season from what looked to be a disaster the previous season to all of a sudden the main changes you bring is like a new head coach who is also in our discussions for Coach of the Year right now, Ben Johnson, as well as some good key players. One of them that I've kept harping on is their offensive line, Joe Thuney, who's just been insane guarding for Caleb in the inside. So yeah, good, great work for the Bears to kind of turn this around this quick and to not only secure a playoff berth with 2 weeks left, but to do so in a division that's very, very, very competitive. So
They're in play for the one seed. I'm hoping. I need the Seahawks to drop one game, and I need the Bears to win out.
Yeah, I think
Looks like the off-season champs. His name is
Yeah,
coming to fruition.
finally. 3 times in a row.
yeah, it's all starting to come together. For I think the biggest trade was obviously the one where you guys traded away the number one overall pick to get the number one overall pick that ended up being Caleb Williams. So
Yeah. And DJ
uh
Moore, Luther
and
Burden,
yeah,
so many people part
they
of that
got they got
trade.
their whole cast just for Bryce, who's also in his due rights showing off when it counts this year as well. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Win-win.
massive props to the Bears. But yeah, in this week 15 slate, there were a lot of other games to cover, of which I'll briefly mention the Panthers versus Bucks. I think Panthers beat the Bucks by 3 or by 7 or something like that. But whatever it is, this matters a lot for whoever gets the last seed in the NFC South. And now the Panthers are in control of their own destiny moving forward. I think if they beat the Seahawks, they're in. And if they lose to the Seahawks and the Bucks win, then it'll come to a Week 17 matchup where they play against each other again. So yeah, that was a very interesting game. And then the one that we're about to cover now, maybe I don't know, you can lead this one.
Yeah, sure. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers comes to Detroit and they take down the Lions. I watched bits and pieces of this game, but I was there for the end of this game. It was a crazy ending, and it was a really fun watch. I wanted to highlight that one Kenneth Gainwell catch down the sideline. It was spectacular. I was like, my jaw was on the floor when I saw that. It was really fun to watch. Kenneth Gainwell had himself a game too. He was awesome throughout the whole game. And yeah, it looks like Aaron Rodgers can still sling it. That last sequence, controversial play at the end. I think that was a clear offensive pass interference from Amon-Ra St. Brown. And yeah, I think the refs got it right. I don't know if some people are saying that, oh, it's a penalty, but they should have gotten a chance to go for it again on like fourth and goal from like the 20 or something, or whatever the penalty would have put them at. But I think I think it's in the rule book to say if something like that happens, then the game ends. So it's in the
Yeah,
rules.
I think there was a 10-second runoff as per the rules. So I think it was the right call. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was, yeah, as Arjun said, I think it was the right decision that was made. It's a very confusing ending, but a lot of crazy plays happened this week, and that was definitely one of them. And also another thing is like I thought Amon-Ra stopped forward progress wise. Like he was going backwards for like 10 seconds before he finally pitched the ball to Goff. So I would have been like very skeptical if they had just called that a touchdown. I feel like the ref should have blown that play dead like 3 seconds before he threw the ball. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. Rodgers can still sling. The Steelers look like they're in prime position, especially with the Ravens loss on Sunday night to win the division. So Steelers yet again, going like 9-8, 10-7, getting
Yeah.
sneaking into the playoffs. But this time they have an elite veteran QB who's obviously he's past it a little bit. But I think that veteran presence and the fact that he's still Aaron Rodgers, right? Like I think one observation I had early in the season is these old passing elite QBs can sometimes have a game where they show you like the prime version of themselves. There may not I think that consistency is what goes away, but they still have like elite flashes, and I think Pittsburgh have a better chance this year of making a run than they did, let's say, like the last like 3, 4, 5, however many years since Roethlisberger left, when they were just barely make the playoffs and then lose in the first round. I think they have a better chance than ever of winning that first round game, and maybe even more than that. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned most things, but Jalen Warren, 14 carries for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had himself a game as well. So both him and Gainwell are proving to be this two-headed monster in their backfield that, they can both receive the ball. They can both like do everything you want from out of the backfield. Both of them are pretty good blockers. It's just a good cast around Rodgers, even though the receivers aren't like amazing or anything. I think Arthur Smith schemed up a decent game as an offensive coordinator. I think he's done his job pretty well in Pittsburgh. And it's kind of unfortunate that this is the way that the cards fell for Detroit, but I really hope they can retool their defense or not. because I would prefer that they have a porous defense. But it'll be interesting to see where they go from here in the offseason, given their playoff chances are essentially it's coming down to them in Green Bay for the last wild card spot. So things are up in the air.
Do they play each other in
NFL,
the next few weeks?
no. The
Okay, yeah.
Detroit plays Chicago and then another team.
So
They have like a
they
7%
already played Green
chance.
Bay twice. Did they lose
And
twice?
they lost twice, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I happened to pull up the controversial play, so we can kind of just take a look at it. It's not great video quality, but basically he pushes Ramsey there. He catches it right there outside of the end zone. They push him out, and then the refs call it dead, I think. He
No, I don't
laterals
think
it
they called it
to
dead. I think that's
really?
Yeah,
what
they just threw a flag,
they
yeah.
threw a flag.
Okay, and then he laterals it to Goff, takes it into the end zone. Yeah, that was the whole extent of the play. So. Yeah, the main thing was the push there at the start to Ramsey. That was like the OPI that was called, and I do agree. I think it was the right call. The runoff thing, I wasn't too sure about, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. I was more so as a fan wanting to see a replay of a fourth down, but I mean, you can't always get what you want, so. I think it definitely did solidify the Steelers' chances of making the playoffs because this was just as important for them as it was for the Lions. Before going into the Sunday night game where the Patriots play the Ravens, I think the Steelers were only one game up on the Ravens with the Steelers playing the Ravens in the last week of the season. So all this to play for going into this game. And now with them winning, and then as we saw the Ravens losing last night to the Patriots, the Steelers are now 2 games up on the Ravens, with their remaining schedule being the Browns and the Ravens. So if they can beat the Browns next week, they've locked in their 4 seed and look pretty dangerous going to the playoffs, given how their defense has stepped up. Their run game looks excellent, as you guys have mentioned. I think Jalen Warren had a day with 2 really good runs. I mean, other than that, they contained him reasonably well, but he had really two really good runs that had really good blocking. Kenneth Gainwell had himself a day, as Anuraag said before. There's also this guy named Darnell Washington that looks like he's like an offensive lineman, but he's like out there trucking everyone. As a defender, I would not want to be seeing that on the on the other side, man. He's lining up on the slot. I'm like, what's going on? Why is this 300-pound dude running routes on me? Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, for the Lions, it's very, very unfortunate, like they still have minor chances to make the playoffs, right? Like if they win their next two and the Packers lose the next two, that's their only way of making it, right?
Next gen stats gives them a 7% chance of that happening.
Okay. Also, one thing we have to keep in mind of is whether Jordan Love will be able to play next week or not.
Hmm.
He obviously got the concussion, right? So there's a question of whether he'll be able to play next week. But I think the week 17, if he's like 70, 80%, I think he'll for sure play if it's a must-need win. So
Yeah,
yeah, that definitely worth taking a look at moving forward. The Lions look wounded. They're not quite out yet. So
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I guess we can quickly. I pulled up the playoff picture just for our viewers, just to kind of get an understanding of where things are at right now. So we mainly covered like NFC related games. We can start with that. So right now it looks like the Seahawks are the 1 seed with a 12-3 record. We have the Bears at the 2 seed with 11-4. The Eagles also clinched their playoff berth via the NFC East with their win against the Commanders. So they're right now the 3 seed. The 4 seed is still up for grabs between the Panthers and the Buccaneers.
Note
The
how the Panthers only have a 42% chance. Next gen stats thinks that the Bucks are gonna win in week 17.
Oh, and then they think the Panthers will also lose to the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's actually very,
interesting.
very, very interesting, given the Panthers managed to beat the Buccaneers this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, all these 5 teams here, the Rams and the 49ers as well, also clinched playoff berths with the Lions loss. The 49ers especially, the Rams already clinched last week. And then we have the Packers here who could potentially only be replaced by the Lions, right? That's the 7 seed battle right now, Packers and Lions. Is there any other teams
Hmm.
that I'm forgetting? Don't
Nope,
think
that's it.
so. Okay. Oh, perfect. We have it right here on the bubble. So yeah, the Lions have 8% and Buccaneers, as Arjun said, have the 100 minus 42%, meaning 58% chance to win the NFC South. So that's interesting.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Vikings low-key had a decent season. They have the same
yeah,
record as the Bucks. JJ McCarthy is like 4-4 as a starter or something, maybe 5-4 now.
5-4 now. Yeah.
Yeah,
NFC North, looking like they're carrying their weight even from the bottom. NFC West
yeah,
is very much struggling with these
yeah.
Cardinals at 15. But yeah, anyone want to take over the AFC pub picture?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, looks like the Broncos have, I think they've solidified that one seed. Oh, probably not. Yeah, not yet, right? They still have, the Patriots still have a chance. So it's between the Broncos and the Patriots for that one seed. Broncos just lost like a pretty big game, in my opinion. At least maybe not for like playoff picture, because I'm pretty sure had they won, they would have, I don't, would they have clinched the one seed had they won?
I'm not sure because the Patriots won as well, and the Broncos would have been one game ahead. So I don't think they would have
Yeah.
clinched
Okay.
yet.
So I think in my like I guess when it comes to like just to see what this team is made of and how they handle like tough, difficult matchups, I think it was a very telling game. I think the Jags looked really good in that game, and it was a really it's a pretty big boost for them and their confidence that they can beat any team going forward. So yeah, the Jags are in the hunt technically, but it looks like they have that with that big win against the Broncos, it looks like they have that AFC South maybe not on lock because the Texans are only one game behind, but like it looks good. It's a good showing from them. And yeah, so the Jaguars are there, the Steelers are there for that 4 seed. They're leading their division. The normally strong AFC North is a little bit weaker this week. Sorry, this year. So
Very
yeah,
weak.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
you can
that's why
see.
Steelers can take advantage of that. And Chargers, Bills, and Texans are also there. Looks like they're the favorites with all have like really high percentage chances of going in. So it looks like the AFC playoff picture is set. It's just where the teams will be placed and who's going where because as you can see, they don't the Colts and the Ravens have about a 10% chance of going in. So they need a lot of things to go like their way. And the Colts only have 11% chance if they beat San Francisco on Monday without their starting QB. So,
Yeah, yeah. This is a very important game because I think if the Colts lose this game, they still have like a very minor chance to make it. But I think it clinches all the teams 3, 5, and 6, and the Patriots as well. I think it clinches all of them into the playoffs. Because I think right now they're all at actually the Patriots have clinched, but all these other three teams are at 99 right now, or are greater than 99.
Yeah.
And all they need is one win or a Colts loss to like
Yep.
lock in their spot. So this will definitely be a game versus San Francisco to keep a lookout for um, tonight. And then if the Colts do lose, it'll be between them and the Texans, right? For the 7.
yep,
Okay, very interesting. It looks like the AFC South is decently strong this year, right? Like even the Colts are
Yeah,
competing.
until the
Very
Colts got
surprising.
injured.
Yeah. Um,
We
yeah.
should do like next week or something, we should do like a playoff preview
Oh
and we
yeah,
should make our
for
brackets or in
sure.
2 weeks.
Definitely. Definitely, yeah. But you see all these eliminated teams here. Um, but yeah, maybe this can be
Graveyard.
a good turn into the next segment, Anurag, now that I have these teams pulled up.
yeah. So I think for a lot of these teams, maybe not these two, but for me, the season is over. So you know what that means? It's time to look forward to the next season. So in this special segment, we're gonna look at a few teams. I have a list of about 10 teams that have an iffy QB situation, and we're gonna discuss whether or not they should make a move for a new QB in 2026, week one of 2026, or if they should stick it out with their guy that they have currently on their roster and see what they got and see how it's going to go from there. So I got a list of teams. We're going to discuss it, and I hope it's going to be a lot of fun because I love just draft stuff and player movement almost as much as I love watching the actual games. So I'm pretty excited for this one. So I think we can start us off with an obvious one. Let's talk about the New York Jets. I think for me personally, I think this is an obvious like yes, they need a new QB. I want to preface with the draft class situation. It seems that this 2026, for those who don't really keep up with like college football and the draft, it seems like there's about 2 to 3 QB prospects with a first round grade, and maybe like early second grade, like that could be like a projected starter next year. So obviously there are outliers that exist, like Brock Purdy and stuff like that. But for now, it seems that Fernando Mendoza is the leader, although in this website it's showing Dante Moore. But I think
Right.
he won the Heisman recently, and I guess in my personal opinion as well, I would take Mendoza 101, and I think a lot of scouts also view it. So Mendoza is a clear lock. Everyone else is like a doubt. Like there are a lot of rumors that Dante Moore will also go back to college and Ty Simpson will go back to college. So those are the three QBs with the first round grade, and two of the three are like iffy on whether or not they're gonna come out or not. I think Dante Moore is likely to come out since his offensive coordinator took a coaching job somewhere else. And he would be a guaranteed QB2 first round pick if he came out this year, but it's obviously not a guarantee. So weak QB class upcoming. There's only one, maybe two, maybe three if Ty Simpson also decides to uh, join the draft of we like projectable next year starters, high level starters in the draft. So that is something to keep in consideration when discussing these teams. Also, since a lot of these guys are coming back to college, the 2027 class is projected to be like a really, really strong QB class. So that is the note that I wanted to give out. So we can start with the Jets. I think this one is really obvious. I think they need a QB. If they don't get that first pick, then maybe trade. They got a lot of assets. Maybe trade for a guy like Mendoza, or if Dante Moore comes out, they can draft Dante Moore. I don't think, I don't think there's like a market for them to trade for like a QB that's already there. Like maybe if Arizona gets fed up with Kyler, maybe trade for Kyler. But whatever it is, I think the Jets need a new QB, and Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor, and I think Bailey Cook is not doing it for them this
I
season.
think so. Right now, oh, thank you.
Oh,
Right
perfect.
now,
Beautiful.
the Jets are number four, so they may not be in striking distance of Mendoza, especially if like Vegas is picking before them. I'm assuming we're gonna get to them soon. I think that what they might end up doing is signing Tua or a
Mm,
different, available vet. I think Tua is getting cut from the Dolphins, and I think he's a candidate for the New York Jets to have another year of tanking and building up their roster with the two first round picks that they have. That's my opinion. But yeah, obviously if they lose out, then and then somehow Raiders pick up a win.
I think what's notable here is look at the team in first. They do not need a QB, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
They don't. I don't have
Yeah,
them on my list of QB.
100%, 100%.
So they will probably be looking to trade that pick because there's only really one or two good QBs. So they just have a good package they can send the Giants. Um, I think that's another reason for them to really go for it. And if not, yeah, I agree that they could try and go for a guy like Tua or Kyler or whatever the QB market, free agency market, whatever it becomes, like maybe a bridge QB. We will see what they decide to do. And speaking of, oh, Akshay, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, one thing I to consider here is that prior to the trade deadline, the Jets made two big trades to give up two of their defensive stars in Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams for draft picks. So that kind of looks like they're not necessarily in a state that they can get like a bridge quarterback or like an existing like starting quarterback and let's say like be in a competitive level to like make the playoffs in the upcoming year, just given that they've positioned themselves for a lot of capital rather than a contending roster. So I'm not necessarily sure if they would go for someone like Tua, for example, just because I think Tua is getting to like 28 or so in age, and he's definitely like past his prime or like at or like past his prime. It appears so. Maybe he has like a late career resurgence, but you could definitely notice that his prime was back in like 21, 22 when he was like slinging it 50, 60 yards deep to Tyreek and Waddle. So for that situation specifically, I'm not too sure of, but as Arjun did state, they're not in a good spot right now to get a pick that would get them like Mendoza or potentially Dante Moore if he opts for the draft. Because I've just from what I'm seeing from mock drafts, the teams that end up getting Mendoza and Dante Moore end up either having the number one and number two overall picks and just picking them or trading up, like some other team trading up. So. It's an option for the Jets to trade up for sure. Like to trade up from 4 to 2 or from 4 to 1 would probably not require that hefty of a package, They could probably throw in another first, like from a future year that they already have, but it's definitely an option for a new QB, like 100%
They
new
do
QB.
they do have the other pick, the Colts pick this year, so they might even be able to trade that
Oh yeah, they
and move
have
up.
the Colts pick right here, number 18, right as of
Hmm.
right now, as it stands. Yeah,
Yeah, I think if the Giants do land that first overall pick, I think a lot of suitors will be there for that number one overall pick. So
no
I
way
think
we came to the last pick. Now that we won. Oh my. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
actually I don't think it matters big. I think whoever wins the Super Bowl gets the last pick.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know. It's just very weird to see.
so I think yeah, I think it's gonna be might be a bidding war, and if it's a bidding war, the price may end up going up. But I think the Jets have the most assets out of any other team. So yeah, I think they might have the best chance to move up to number one. And speaking of another team that we also discussed within their division, the Miami Dolphins, recently Tua has been moved from QB1 to QB3 behind both Ewers and Zach Wilson. So if you're the Dolphins, are you trading? Are you trading a draft pick? Are you trading to get high in the draft? Are you trying to like maybe draft someone in the second, third round to see like take a shot on them? You have Quinn Ewers on your roster, so do you want to give him a chance, even though he was a seventh round pick, but he was highly touted coming out of high school and his first few years of college. But he ended up falling to the seventh round for a reason, right? So in his last year at Texas. So yeah, he fell to the seventh round. Do you want to give him like a full chance next year? Like if you're the Dolphins, like I don't know. I don't know if you even keep Tua. I don't even know. Did you burn your bridge with Tua? Like what do you guys think with the Dolphins?
I think Tua is gone. I think Tua is getting cut, and I think the dead money is going to be on the likes of what the Broncos had to pay Russell Wilson. It's going to be a
It
lot of
worked
dead
out for
money, but I
them.
think it did, and I think next year is probably the year that Miami just tears it down because they have Tyreek, who is essentially like gone. They have like Tua, who is useless, and they have a ton of dead money on the books. The defense is nothing inspiring. I think this is a full fire sale, and maybe they give Malik Willis a bag in free agency, and that's a guy that they can try out for a year because McDaniels is seeming to be like he's going to stick around. So I'm interested to see what direction they go with him because they'll have to give him the grace of, okay, this year we're not going to give you the best roster, but just see what we can do and what we have in the players that we got. Maybe like a day two, day three guy that they
I
add.
I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I feel like the Dolphins are not in a position for them to do a fire sale like currently at this point. Like if they were to have moved away from all their defensive assets that they had and Waddle as well, who was potential trade option, they could have done it in this past trade cycle. But now it doesn't seem like the time for them to go on an extreme fire sale, even post the end of the draft, for them to be in a rebuild and then potential contend stage for the upcoming year. So I think, as Arjun said, I think the Dolphins might probably stick to like their 10th overall pick that they kind of have right now, and then maybe offer a day two, day three guy, and then maybe hope for a better class in 27 to finally draft their like quarterback if like the day two, day three guy slash Ewers doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think some notable backups that could start for them potentially. Malik Willis, obviously Arjun mentioned in Green Bay. Will Levis is still there in Tennessee. He has a lot of raw talent, like arm strength and stuff like that. Maybe the Dolphins can get the best out of him. Obviously, you guys got guys like Jameis Winston in New York, and even a guy like Joe Milton in Dallas. He also has a cannon of an arm. So I guess if you want to
Spencer
like a
Rattler.
raw tool, exactly him as well. So a lot of guys with like raw talent that you might want to like swing, take a chance on. Um, yeah, so that's the situation in Miami.
Maybe Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, potentially if the
Low
Colts
key.
if the Colts are willing to move off of Anthony Richardson, yeah, get Anthony Richardson in there. Yeah, I think that's the correct move for the Dolphins. There's a few more teams moving on in this list. Let's talk about Las Vegas. They have the number two pick currently, and as much as it pains me to say this, Geno Smith is not the solution, and I think he's a little bit washed, unfortunately. He is throwing a bunch of picks. His age is getting to him. His prime only lasted like a few years. It was great to see though. I'm pretty happy that I got to say that, some guy I believed in ended up being really good when everyone else gave up on him. So unfortunately for me, I'm a Geno Smith fan, but he is not the solution anymore. I don't think he's a plus starter in the NFL anymore. I think he'd probably be like a gap starter, like a bridge quarterback somewhere. And maybe he has a few years of starting left in him, but at least he got his bag, so good for him. But looks like the Raiders made a mistake giving him that contract, and now they need a new QB pretty desperately. So luckily they're at a high pick, and I'd say like go all out for a rookie QB. I don't think giving up assets for someone, especially when you gave so many assets up for Geno Smith in the first place, like trading for someone like Kyler Murray or even like a swing guy. I feel like you need like a really young QB that like the fans can get behind. So I would say, and they have the position in the draft. So I would say go out and get a guy like Mendoza or Dante Moore if he comes out. So that's my solution for the Raiders.
To be honest, I feel like Mendoza might be a perfect fit for the Raiders. Because I know that Mendoza plays a lot of West Coast offense, especially on the Hoosiers. And you know who the coach is currently of the Raiders. It's not none only than the king of West Coast offense himself, Pete Carroll. So I feel like it could be a good fit for the Raiders. They would definitely have to trade up to the number one overall pick to get Mendoza if the Giants end up staying at there, because the Giants will definitely be trading down if they have the number one overall pick. Let's be real. Like there's no point for them to be at the number one overall pick and pick someone that's of lesser value than Mendoza, for example. So it's just whoever gives them the package that they like the most. But I definitely feel like Mendoza might be the perfect fit for the Raiders. I don't know if Mendoza wants to go to the Raiders. Probably doesn't, to be honest, given the situation. But who knows? I feel like that's their best course of action, though, just given the scheming that they have already.
Honestly, do you guys think Pete Carroll could be a one and done in Las Vegas, or do you think he sticks out another year? Because he's getting up there in age. He could just call it a career because Las Vegas doesn't seem like they're getting better anytime soon or going to be in a position to
Fair,
contend.
fair. That's
That
fair.
O-line is pretty devastating,
True.
to say the least.
Very true. Yeah, if they don't go for an offensive line, or if they don't go for a quarterback per se this year from the draft, their best course of action would probably be like trading down a little bit, getting someone like I think his name like Moaga or something from
Mhm.
Miami, right?
From the Hurricanes, yeah. I was watching that Hurricanes A&M game, and he did an insane job. So I know like I can see why his talent's up there, for sure. So that's another avenue that they could go if it was not QB. But to Arjun's point, he is correct. Pete Carroll was already very old in Seattle, and he is now older in the Raiders. So
Yeah.
he could be done soon. So who knows?
I think he'll stay, especially if the Raiders land Mendoza. I feel like if he quits, like if the Raiders secure the number one or number two overall pick and they're able to get the QB that they want, then I really find it really hard to be like, oh, Pete Carroll got his number one overall pick or number two overall pick QB, and now he's leaving. I don't think he would do that. If they don't get their QB and the next season goes like really disastrously, then I can really see him hanging it up. But as for the end of this season, I think he sticks it out to next season. So yeah.
All right. Cool. I guess we can move to the next team. I think you had 10, right? So we're going to live too long on the first few.
Yeah. So I think I wanted to quickly touch on the Colts. Daniel Jones did get injured. So I don't know if he'll be ready for the start of 2026. I think as for the guys on their roster, I don't think they can go with Philip Rivers towards the beginning of the 2026 season. So I think for the Colts, in my opinion, I think they should take a swing on like a guy like Malik Willis or Will Levis or whatever to see what they got, or give their guy that they want to take a swing on, Anthony Richardson, a chance. So I don't think there's much for the Colts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I
agree with you there.
I agree as well. I feel like walking into the season, it was between Richardson and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones clearly won the spot. Anthony Richardson got hurt at the start of the season. Anthony Richardson has not had a properly fully healthy season ever. So if Daniel Jones ends up not being healthy enough for the first few weeks, they might give that spot to Anthony Richardson to just see what he can do with that already very talented roster, and then maybe move towards Daniel Jones once he's healthy again. Because Daniel Jones clearly showed that he is the part that can fit in the puzzle for the Colts. Like he was the missing piece, quote unquote, that they've been missing. So yeah,
They don't wait. Jones's contract is up, right? So he's going to be due for an
Big
extension.
extension, yeah. I don't know how
oh,
much this
another
injury
one.
will reduce the
Yeah, I don't
cost,
think.
but
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get that much because of this injury now.
Yeah, as a reminder to all our viewers, I think he got like one of the biggest contracts that we've seen from like a one year quality quarterback on his like
Yeah,
his first extension. I think it was like four for 100 or something like that at the
yeah.
time. Yeah, at the time
At the time,
it was crazy. Probably now it's a little less crazy given some of the other deals that are
yeah.
happening. But yeah, I think we can move on from the Colts.
yeah, I think another one I quickly wanted to touch on is the Vikings and the Saints. They're both in a similar category. Obviously, as a Vikings fan, I think this QB class is very not that good. So there's no way we're getting up there for a Mendoza or a Moore. So I think we should stick with JJ McCarthy. He's shown a bit more promise, as Arjun has said previously. He is 5-4 as a starter. So obviously he's a project, and we should give guys more time. I think often, especially in modern, like guys used to get like a lot of time, but now not so much. I think JJ deserves some time. And as for the Saints, I've been also very impressed with Chuck. And I think same thing. There's a lot of holes on that roster that need to be filled. So getting a QB high is kind of pointless for them. What do you guys think about those two teams?
Yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree with both as well. You can go ahead, Arjun.
Okay, okay. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, like I don't think you can, especially because you guys traded up for McCarthy too, right? So I
We
feel
did
like
trade
trading
up.
up
Yeah, we
for,
did give up a bit for McCarthy.
yeah, I feel like it's a little too soon to call it like pull the plug on McCarthy, even though there are like durability concerns, there are play concerns with how he like how well he can even be a quarterback in the NFL. But he's a project, and I think you just plug in like a different veteran, and you hope that he can show something next year again before you pull the plug. And Shuck has been good. I think Shuck could be a guy in New Orleans for a while.
I agree with both assessments as well. I feel like JJ McCarthy is technically in his rookie year, given the fact that he did not play all year last year. So you got to give him a little bit of grace in that sense. If he's a top 10 um, draft pick and you've only given him 1 year, it doesn't seem right in that sense. And they also have a very good coach in KOC, a mastermind in the offensive play calling department. So. It'll just take some time there, and then as we've seen of recent, Tyler Shark has been very impressive. His connection with Olave has been especially particularly impressive. I think we saw that this past week. So I think you give them both some more time, especially McCarthy. I think you got to be a little nicer on him. I think Shark has no reason for him not to lose the spot anytime soon.
Okay, I want to touch upon our hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons. Penix has gone down with an injury to his other knee I know he suffered. I can't remember if it was left and right, but he suffered a couple tears in college, and now he suffered another tear on the other leg. So both of his knees seem to be cooked. Kirk Cousins is still on the roster, and that's a potential quarterback that maybe some other teams would want to trade for. It doesn't seem like Michael Penix will be there for a start of week one. Do you think the Falcons should stick with Kirk Cousins, or do you think they should blow everything up and find a new QB, or do you think they should just stick with what they got?
Yeah, I mean, just for reference here, like you might be wondering where are the Falcons in the first round, and we can see here they are at 11, but their pick is actually to the Rams. It's not their own anymore, so they don't have a first round pick this year. So that's why Anurag mentioned that they can't even like consider trading for Mendoza or more anything like that. They're not in the kind of position to do so. So with that in mind, I think that they potentially ride it out for another year or so. Like Penix was also a top 10 draft pick. You give him a little bit more time, I feel like. In this position, I feel like the coaching is a little more suspect compared to the other situations that we are looking at with like McCarthy and Shuck a little bit. Um, but I think you just give another year for Penix at least. Like if you're putting in that much investment in a quarterback, and know the controversy that was taking Penix at the time, right? Because they just paid Kirk Cousins like 3 years, 100 mil or something like that, and then they're drafting a quarterback with their eighth overall pick. So you gotta put trust in a guy that you've invested in from the draft for at least another year.
Honestly, I think I kind of disagree. I feel like the Penix experiment could be close to done, maybe closer than JJ McCarthy is to being done. And that's because I feel like both Penix and McCarthy are bad, but Penix is older. He has like his flashes have been, I feel like McCarthy has had some good quarters of football, and I don't feel Penix has had any like, signature moments really. I don't know, I could be wrong. Am I forgetting anything?
Not that I can remember, to be
Yeah.
honest.
He's been solid for a
Like,
few quarters. Like he's had some game-winning drives.
Yeah, like
Nothing comes to mind to me, to be honest, at the moment.
yeah.
But
he hasn't been too flashy. I'll say that.
but
Like
to be
he,
fair, there his lows have not been as low, like nearly as low as JJ McCarthy's lows. So
This is true. This is true. I at the same time, like I feel like the Falcons have kind of that one offseason really cooked them because they took two very expensive swings at quarterback and both of them missed really badly. So they're in a position now where they just have to stick it out. And even though that sucks, like if you can get anything for Penix, I think I would do it,
what about for
which is
Kirk?
kind
Are
of
you
extreme.
if you get something for Kirk, anything for Kirk, are you letting him go?
Kirk is a different story because he's actually healthy, And I feel like you need a quarterback on the roster, right? Who are you
Oh, for
starting
sure.
if, yeah.
That's true.
you gotta make the fans come to at least a game, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
I think in the beginning of the season, Falcons fans were willing like anything, like literally anything for Kirk Cousins they would have taken just to get off his contract. But now it seems like Kirk Cousins is pretty necessary to their
Yeah.
plans in 2026. Okay,
You can't
moving
give a
on.
bag to another QB.
Yeah, moving on to the Rams. I think for them, they obviously have the MVP on their team. They have the 11th pick, so maybe there's a play for maybe like a draft a guy and like stash him. But I don't know how. I'm curious to think like how many of years do you think Stafford has left in him? You think he's 37 right now, so do you guys think he can stay at this level for a while?
I think I think if the Rams win, I could see Stafford retiring on top.
Oh, that would be tough.
That
But
would
if
be
that if
tough.
that was the case, like if he does a Peyton Manning, then the Rams need a QB, and
Yeah.
I think their best option would be. I don't think they have enough firepower to get up there in the draft for Mendoza or more if he comes out. So I think if that's the case, if Stafford decides to retire, or if they want to take a guy and develop him behind Stafford, I think they should go with the trade for a guy that has some upside and let him sit in McVay's system and see what he can do. A guy like I don't like we mentioned Joe Milton, Malik Willis, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. That it goes on and on and on. So
Honestly, honestly, if I were the Rams, I would not be like upset if I was like a Rams fan. I would not be upset if they sent everything. They sent like two firsts, including their like Atlanta first, and they like do everything they can to get Mendoza because I feel like if the Giants are one and they're willing to sell it, then I feel like this is a how often is LA at the t near the top of the draft,
that is
How
true.
often do
That
you
is
have
true.
chips of this value to even give up?
I mean
But it's not going to happen. But
their chip value is slowly going down as the Falcons have now won they've now won two in a row. So
But
yeah,
you
that
you
all
never know.
predicates on how many years Stafford has. Like Stafford has not looked like he's slowing down, and who knows, he could have like a crazy longevity. Like let's say Akshay just showed a picture of Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has fell off a lot, but I feel like even 2 years ago, like his last year in Green Bay, I thought he was a very like serviceable QB, and I thought he was really good at that time. So another 3 years, if you draft Mendoza now and you're sitting him for 3, 4 years, like will he want to do that? Like, what is the situation? You gave up a lot for something like that. I know it worked out with Jordan Love in Green Bay. He sat for 3, 4 years, but Green Bay didn't have to give any like a lot of capital, and he wasn't the number one overall pick. He was later in the first. So, um, I don't know if I'm the Rams, I don't know if I'm. I guess you have to have a verbal like you got to talk with Stafford a little bit, see what his plans are, and based on that, I think we have to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Thing is, Stafford has like a lot of injuries and like a bad back. So I feel like the end could be closer. The cliff could be a lot closer than we think. But actually, go ahead.
Mm,
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna actually touch on what Arjun just said. I think this is one of the first seasons in a recent past where Stafford has been healthy every game. Um, actually, there was a little worry in the preseason where he had a minor back injury of whether he would be okay for the start of the season, and he's been more than fine, obviously. But as you do get into that age, and you take a little few more hits than you're used to, that than you should at that age. You're more prone to injuries like these. Um, and I guess like we're seeing like the quarterbacks that do end up playing very later in their career happen to be like these quarterbacks that are a little bit more pocket passers or like gunslingers rather than like the scrambler kind of quarterback. So in that sense, I think Stafford does seem to kind of fit the metric for a quarterback that could play a few more years, just given the fact that he's not doing a lot with his legs and with like his quote unquote athleticism. I don't really know if he can call Matthew Stafford as like an athletic guy per se. He's more of like a genius with his passing. But from that sense, I think Stafford has potentially a year or two more at minimum if they don't win. Like as Arjun said, right? If they do win, it gives Stafford a lot of incentives to just leave while he's ahead. Um, but he had an option in 2021 as well, but I think he was much younger then. I don't know. We just have to see. I feel like the Rams are in a good position to contend the next few years, even if um, Stafford decides to call it, um, just depending on the quarterback that they get. So yeah.
Hmm.
okay, I think we can go forward unless Arjun, do you have anything more to say? All
No,
right,
that's it.
cool. I saved the two most interesting situations for last.
Oh.
Uh, let's start with the team in Cleveland, Cleveland Browns. What should they do at QB in 2026? As you can see, they have the third pick, so they are also in striking distance of getting Mendoza. So I guess you guys can go ahead. What do you guys think the Cleveland Browns should do?
Akshay?
Uh, I feel like we have very differing opinions on this, man. I feel like the Browns QB room has looked very crazy this past year. They had like five different quarterbacks before they had to cut one going into the season, and now some quarterbacks got injured, some quarterbacks got moved to different teams, and then now you're sitting with Shador as like your fifth round draft pick as your starting quarterback after he was rejected to go in the first round this last year. So very interesting situation that they're in. Shador has showed a few flashes of like good performances here and there, but he's also shown flashes of why he was drafted in the fifth round as opposed to a lot earlier where people expected he would go. So in that sense, I'm not entirely sure at this point of my opinion for what the Browns should do. I'm leaning towards them potentially trading up to getting Mendoza. Just because like Mendoza is significantly a better prospect than either of the two that they drafted in Dylan Gabriel and Shador. Like I feel like from what we've seen from both quarterbacks, they're definitely capped at some certain ceiling where I feel like Mendoza is not necessarily capped yet. He's more of like an untapped potential that we don't really know about. Um, but then again, the Browns coaching is not really great. So they got to work on that department as well before they kind of figure out what they're going to do offensively. But they do have good weapons. Like they found some good rookies that unfortunately Judkins got hurt, but they found some good rookies that can potentially help from like a passing and rushing point of view. Offensive line's trash though. I will say that.
What do you think, Anuraag?
Yeah, I have some strong opinions on this one. I think the Cleveland Browns should stay either where they are or even consider trading down. I think that offensive line needs a lot of work and receiver especially, bro. Like, dude, there's a couple of plays where Jerry Jeudy makes that make me want to like pull my hair out when I'm watching. Like there's one play against Chicago where Shedeur threw a really nice pass to the outside shoulder and it went through his hands and somehow got intercepted. By the corner. So yeah, I think the Cleveland has a lot of needs on offense. I think trading down to get either one of the receiving prospects or Fano or the guard from Miami that Akshay mentioned earlier that would be a much bigger help. And me personally, I like Shedeur Sanders. When I was watching and when I was grading, I think everyone had him as a obviously there's some delusional people that had him like second or third overall, but per my grade and per even per Shador, no one Shador haters like Arjun and a few other people online saying he's a late first, early second, maybe day two guy. And now all of a sudden, once he fell, now all of a sudden people are like, oh, he's a fifth round pick. He is no good anyways. He was ass in college and now he's ass in the NFL. So like I think people are way too high or way too low on Shador, and everything he does good, people like shove it in your face, like, wow, look at Shador, what an amazing QB. And everything he does bad, people are like, why would you even draft this guy? He sucks. So I think we need to like be more level-headed about what Shador is. I think he's for me, he's a second round talent, a first second round talent. I think a pro comp for him, from what I had, was Derek Carr. I think he can be a plus starter in the NFL. And Cleveland has way too many holes and way too many holes on offense, and I don't think they can put a young QB, another young QB in like a position of success. Like I don't think anyone is going to succeed that much in that offense. So they're making a few plays. They got a nice tight end, Fannin, very good. Nice running back, Judkins, I like. Although he slowed down a little bit towards the end of the season. So
Had
we'll
a
see.
devastating injury.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Also, yeah, devastating injury. So we don't know how he's gonna bounce back from that. So yeah, I'd say if I'm the Browns, I'm sticking with Shador, and yeah, hopefully he can come good for the
Yeah,
Browns.
actually, now that you mention it, Anurag, there are like really good offensive line and a potential wide receiver prospect. I think Jordan Tyson's the main wide receiver prospect for this year. So that
Mhm.
could definitely be a good investment moving forward. Maybe quarterback might not necessarily be the best option for them from an improvement point of view. There's definitely other holes in their offense that require greater improvement before quarterback. So that's a good point there.
Yeah, I think Anurag has diagnosed the situation pretty well. I don't think Shador is anywhere close to a first round talent. I think he is more like a I think at his peak, he could just be like a bridge quarterback. I don't think he's anything more than that. I don't think he's going to be like a full-time starter, is what I mean to say. I am admittedly a Shador Sanders hater. I changed my name just to match that. I think one thing that Cleveland can do, which is interesting, is they have a lot of assets from the Travis Hunter trade. And something that they could do is try to get up there and get their guy. They could try to invest in they have picks next year and stuff too. So obviously it's nothing like the Jet situation, but they have capital and they could try to get their guy this year if they really like Mendoza. They could also go the route of just taking weapons and seeing what happens. I do think that they need to like invest in their QB room in some way, whether it's like signing somebody like a veteran to make it a bit of a QB competition, or drafting a guy if they decide to do that. But there's so many holes. This O-line sucks that like their weapons are not in a good state besides Finn. I don't know.
I think speaking of the Browns, like they're not like that far away from being a decent team. Like I think if you don't believe in QB, then you can say QB as a whole, but if they patch up that O line and get their QB like a nice wide receiver one, they have like the tight ends and the running game, and the defense is obviously amazing. So it's not as far fetched for them to compete in the future. And if Shador doesn't work out, I think that 27 class is pretty strong, so they can grab a QB then.
That's
For
fair.
sure, for sure. Yeah, also of note, the Browns, as Arjun said, the Browns do have the Jacksonville first round pick from this year, which is turning out to be a pretty late one, as we've seen the Jags outperform expectations heavily in the later half of the season. But it's definitely something worth of note if they can get like a decent lineman or receiver later as well, not only like their third overall pick that they have at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's enough of the Shador talk. I know we get a lot of that online and wherever we go, but now I wanted to move on to my most interesting situation that I thought when I was making this list, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. Um, they have, admittedly, Kyler got hurt earlier in the season. However, I'm pretty sure he's back healthy, but they've chosen to go with Jacoby Brissett anyways. What do you think the Cardinals' plans are in 2026 week one? Do you think Kyler is their week one starter next year?
Yeah, it looks like all indications are pointing towards no. I think that they're probably going to try and move Kyler somewhere. I don't know if they're going to get much for him, but they're going to probably try to trade him. There will be a market. What do you guys think happens to Kyler?
I think we mentioned before we made a list of like 10 teams talking about their questionable QB situation. I think Mendoza
One
can't go
of
to all
them,
of them, right?
yeah,
So
one of them gotta take
so
him.
one of them has to take a chance on Kyler Murray, and I feel like he'll definitely be a starter. How for the Cardinals, I'm not sure. If I was the Cardinals, what would I do? The Cardinals currently, where are they in the draft? Actually, they're at five, right?
Hmm.
So they have enough for, I don't know if they have enough to get one of their top two guys. I think if the third guy in that class decides to declare, then you can push him and plug him in. Or you could try and tank next year, but how many seasons of tanking have we seen from the Arizona Cardinals? They have some talented receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., although he hasn't been what is promised. He's still young and talented, and maybe he can get on with it. So they have a receiver to support a young QB. Whether or not they can get a guy like Mendoza is for debate, but I think they should definitely try. Um, Maybe trade up. I'm not 100% sure what they can do. But yeah, they for me they're in the tough spot because like they're not quite high enough without especially without trading anything to get one of their guys in the draft. And the market for other QBs looks like a little bit shoddy. So like are you really like replacing Kyler Murray with like Will Levis or even like Tua Tagovailoa? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Cardinals should do. I think if you had to ask me like Anurag, like tell me what should the Cardinals do, I would say try your best to trade up and draft a guy in this year's draft. What do you guys think?
Loki, why not just stick it out with Jacoby and draft like a flyer or trade for a flyer?
Hmm.
Like, could be an option.
That could be
Revamp the
just
QB
riding
room a
another
bit.
season away. I guess the West is so strong that
Yeah, they're kind of
you might
cooked.
be writing that season off anyways. So you're saying just write the whole thing off anyways.
Yeah,
Try and
tear
tank.
some things
I
down, see what
I
happens.
I agree as well because I feel like if you looked at how Brissett has played compared to Kyler, like obviously Brissett didn't have his uh a good game at all this past week against the Falcons, but prior to that, he played some difficult matchups in like the Texans and some other teams, and he's actually shown that he can be somewhat competitive in a lot of these games. So their offense looked pretty good considering the fact that they've lost a lot of their options at running back, especially. Like their top two running backs both got hurt for the season. So their run game is pretty much non-existent. So they're relying on Brissett to kind of like even put a resemblance of an offense out on the field through the likes of like Trey McBride and like MHA and then like Megatron, Michael Wilson, obviously. But um it's been I've been fairly impressed by Brissett overall. I don't feel like they wouldn't really move him. Kyler is definitely the guy to move. And if anything, I would look towards the Cardinals potentially moving down, to be honest. I feel like they're not really in a position to trade a lot of capital for them to go up to one or two. And I don't think someone like Ty Simpson's going to resolve their situation. I just don't believe in him altogether. So I think they should just trade down, um, or just stick and pick like a good like lineman or like other skill position based player or something like that.
Yeah.
Potentially, Loki, maybe like a if they trade down to like 12 or 13 somehow and they manage to snipe Jeremiah Love from Kansas City, that could be interesting.
That's a interesting. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do you guys think the holes are on that Cardinals roster? I know their O-line is not like the best, but I don't think it's nearly like the worst at
No, no,
all.
they've definitely invested in their offensive line a decent bit in the last few drafts. So it's definitely all right, to be honest. But obviously it needs some work, but it's all right for now, I guess.
Nice. Maybe they
Yeah,
go defense. Yeah, who knows?
defense needs a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I think
They,
there's
they,
some nice edge rushers in this class, so maybe
Hmm.
maybe they go that way.
yeah, I saw that Caden Curry guy. That guy's insane. But
Yeah,
all right, but yeah. Any other thoughts for this Cardinal situation?
I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see how things shake out.
I'm very curious to see who ends up getting Mendoza. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the teams that I thought for the special segment. You guys have any other teams that you think maybe deserve a shout or
No, I feel
Hmm.
like I feel like Tennessee invested in their quarterback last year. You have Washington that's also in the top 10, but they have Jaden Daniels. Cincinnati has Burrow. Kansas City has Mahomes. Dallas has Dak. Baltimore has Lamar, etc. So yeah, I feel like those are the 10 that you mentioned are all noteworthy compared to any of the other ones.
Nice. Okay, I think we
Green.
spent a lot of time on this segment. We can quickly move on to the last bit, which is our upset picks.
Sure. I can go ahead and start. Mine is pretty simple. It's just I picked Tennessee over the Saints. I think Tennessee showed quite a bit last week. Obviously, they played a Mahomes-less Chiefs, and then later Minshew-less Chiefs. Which I don't even know how that's possible. I was very sad that they both tore their ACL in back-to-back weeks.
How could
But
that happen, man?
yeah, I genuinely don't know. But Tennessee's offense looked pretty decent this past week. And given the fact that the Chiefs' offense has nothing to do with the Titans' offense, that's definitely saying something. The Tennessee Titans' defense has always also been decent. So I think there's definitely chances against the Saints that are also looking pretty hot. So I don't know. I just felt like it could be something that the Tennessee Titans could upset on back-to-back weeks. So that's why I picked Tennessee over the Saints. But just as uh, a recap of the previous upset picks. We haven't done this in a while, but the current standings are that Anurag has 10 points by the spread. I have 9.5 by the spread, and Arjun has 9 by the spread. So we're all within a point of each other with 2 weeks left. Or are we doing
Yeah.
playoffs as well? I guess. Why not, right?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Okay. So with a few weeks left, I should say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice, Akshay. Chris Oladokun was the starter for Kansas City, the third string. I thought that was
Oh my
interesting.
Mm,
gosh.
Yeah, well, it's not
mm.
often that I there's like a guy that like you've never heard of play NFL QB, so that was
For
cool to
Kansas
see.
City.
Yeah, especially for Kansas City, that is true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool to see. As for my upset pick, I'm going with my favorite team, Vikes over Lions. I feel like both teams don't really have much to play for because I think the Lions have like a very outside shot. I guess they will play because they have like just a sliver of a chance, especially with like the QB situation in Green Bay. But I think Kevin O'Connell has done a good job of motivating his guys. And if JJ McCarthy plays, I think he beat them last time. That's how I got the majority of my points, 8.5 points, just straight off that Vikings win. And obviously they're my favorite team, so I'm just gonna. So my first thought, pick the Vikings. So yeah, I'm gonna do that.
As for me, I am going back to the Chicago Bears to beat the San Francisco 49ers. And since we're all so close, I figured, like anybody who gets it right is basically going to take the lead. And I don't need to do something super flashy. I think I actually had a similar idea. I don't need to pick something super flashy as long as we get it right. And I have a decent feeling about Chicago in this one. So I'm hoping for the best. Hopefully we come through with a dub. And if not, the pain will be doubled because I will lose this as well.
Pain will
Well,
be doubled, but happiness will be doubled as well.
Double two. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess that's a wrap of our segments. Again, thank you so much for our viewers for watching this long podcast. But we'll hopefully be back next week for an all important week 17 with a lot of important playoff implications. More so in the uh,
The
I
NFC.
guess the NFC. Most of the AFC is all wrapped up, but more so in the NFC with seeding more so than who's in and who's out. But yeah,
Lucky AFC too.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if I'm just anticipating the Colts will lose tonight.
Uh,
That's my prediction. So if the Colts lose tonight, then you have like 4 or 5 spots all locked in. Um,
they could shuffle around though, right?
yeah, they could shuffle. They could shuffle, given
Yeah.
that they're all like either 11-4 or like the Patriots and Broncos are 12-3. So.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot to play for on both sides, I guess. I stand corrected. So, yeah, I'm Akshay signing off, and let's go Seahawks.
I'm
Bear
Anuraag. I'm
down.
signing off.
Bear down, baby.